Hey guys, this is Yaka bringing you a K.E.M Strike gameplay on the map Freefall. In this video I'm going to be giving you some tips and tricks on getting easy chems, and also tips on improving your game in general. Now first things first, I'm going to start with map selection and class loadouts. In this game I'm using the Vector with a red dot sight and foregrip. For my perks I'm using Ready Up, Agility, Marathon, Steady Aim, Dead Silence, and Focus. And of course no secondary, lethal, or tactical, as well as the specialist kill streak for more perks, and it's really up to you on which ones to choose. But with the exception of Scavenger, Sleight of Hand, and ICU, and now those you're just really going to need because they are going to come in handy and help you out in the long run the most. And Scavenger because you're going to need extra ammo. Now on map selection, you're going to want to go for the smaller maps such as Strike Zone, Free Fall, etc. Or, in my opinion, the maps I do best on are the smaller maps. That's the maps that I really go hard on and that I can get the best gameplays on, and they're easier for me in general to get K.E.M Strikes on. But if you can do better on maps like Whiteout, Warhawk, those ones, then if you want, go ahead and go play what suits your playstyle best. And the same for class loadouts. If what I recommend works for you, then that is great. But if it doesn't, that's fine, because really just use what you play with best and get the highest scoring gameplays. I've tried so many different recommendations from different videos, and some of them work out good, but I always found myself either tweaking them, perks wise, attachments wise, different guns, or I just scrap them completely and use, like in this video, I'm just using a class that I made that I play with best. So I would recommend trying that if this class that I recommend doesn't work for you. And now, you're really going to need to use Specialist though. You have to use that because you will need a Scavenger for one, because you have to have that for going on a K.E.M Strike unless you're going to scavenge for weapons, and I don't recommend doing that except for shotgun. If there's a shotgun, if you have the chance, go ahead and pick it up because you're not going to have a secondary, and like in this video you'll see I do that, and that comes in handy a lot, especially on the smaller maps. But you're really going to need that for extra ammo, and I would recommend using Sleight of Hand for reloading faster, and ICU because that'll really help you in those stickier situations where you take damage but you don't get killed on your health regenerating faster in general. And for game modes, you're going to really want to go for something like Domination, Blitz, or even Infected. Those have the longest time limit, and it takes the longest for them to finish the game. You're not going to want to go for something like Team Deathmatch or Cranked, just because the score cap is so low. It only takes 75 kills in Team Deathmatch. Unless you're going for a really fast chem, you can get them, but I really recommend playing on Domination or something, just because it's going to be harder to get most of those 75 kills with 6 other people on your team. And now to get into the second part of the commentary, improving your game in general, I'm going to start with improving your accuracy. And now, if you play on a sensitivity that's anything from medium to high, and now this won't really apply to people who use control freaks. If you don't know what those are, there will be a link in the description so you can check them out, because those raise your aim stick up and it helps you retain a tighter bullet grouping and accuracy on higher sensitivities. But if you don't have those, I would really recommend, if you play on anything like 6 or 7, to lower it down to something slower. Nothing higher than 5. I would recommend something to 3 to 4. I play on 4, and I really feel like reducing it makes for precise, minute movements, especially at longer ranges. You miss fewer bullets. And another thing is to aim with the left stick. And what I mean by aiming with the left stick is to move left and right to help correct your aim, which for one will make more of your bullets connect, and at the same time you're going to be dodging bullets, so less connect with you, and it's just all around better. And what I mean, to go into a little more in depth about that, is when you're getting in a gunfight with somebody, moving left and right, especially when they're farther away, really with a red dot, helps your your iron sights or your reticule on your red dot, connect with them more without having to move the left stick. And I really feel like when you move the left stick, it just ends up making your aim, you just end up missing more bullets in a sense, especially in longer ranges. So practice moving with the left stick. And now, to get into my second tip, and I'm going to talk about drop shotting and jump shotting. And now this is another thing that's an exception if you play claw, and there will be an image on screen to show you what playing claw is, or if you have a scuff controller, and there'll be a link in the description on a scuff controller. But I wouldn't try drop shotting or jump shotting, with the exception of if you don't have play claw or have a scuff. You can go ahead and go into the options and you can select the stick layout instead of default to tactical. So what this does, instead of pressing B to crouch and go prone, you can click in the left stick and you can go prone and crouch. So instead of having to take your finger off to hit B off the aim stick, you can just use the movement stick to go ahead and do that. But you have to be careful. I always find myself moving on accident, and when you drop shot, you have to completely stop moving, and like you have to stop completely. So if that works for you, I recommend doing that, but I personally don't do it. And now for the third tip, wait, I'll go into a little more on claw. What claw is, instead of having both your index fingers on the left and right trigger, on the right trigger you move your index finger up, so your finger goes over X, Y, and B, and your middle finger is on the right trigger to fire. And now for the third or second tip on improving your game is cornering. And now most of you probably do this without even realizing it. When you're around a corner on maps that you really know, and you'll eventually just learn where the enemy is going to be in general on pretty much every map, where you think they're going to be, you can pre-aim, but I really don't recommend doing it, at least for me. It might work, sometimes I do it, but most of the time I have my my iron sights will get in the way, and I'll end up just not seeing them in time, and they'll outreact me. But I would recommend the crosshairs for your hip fire, the 4 little lines. Wherever you think an enemy is going to be, try to have it so right when you round the corner, they are going to be in the middle of your hip fire crosshairs. So when you fire, you'll already be on them, or when you aim down sight, your reticule or your iron sight will be right directly on them, so you don't have to correct your aim. And now another thing about cornering is, say you're going through a doorway, and in most doorways are like walkways, there's a place where they can camp on the left or the right of the doorway. Most of you probably already know this, but when you're going in, if say you think there's somebody going to be on the right side of you, go to the left, not in the doorway but outside, and look to the right and do the same thing for the left side, and you'll be able to see if they're there. And now for the third tip on improving your game, don't hesitate on making plays and just gunfights in general. Say you're getting into a gunfight with somebody, you're both peeking a corner or a wall, and you just can't kill them. If you're going to decide to flank, you're going to want to do it right away so you can outreact and just outplay the enemy. And now this can happen to you too. If you're peeking the corner and you don't see the enemy there anymore, peeking the corner that he was just peeking to shoot at you, most likely he's trying to flank you, so try to catch him off guard. And the same for you. If you're going to flank, do it right away. Don't hesitate on it. You're going to want to do it right away so you can just outplay him and outreact him. And now for the last tip that I have on improving your game in general is spawns and learning the spawns. One thing that really helps with this is to play with bots. Don't go on anything below regular or anything above hardened, because when they're on veteran, they're just literally like impossible. I would try it out on regular. But play bots, play something like Domination, play a map like Strike Center, or any map you want to try to go for a K.E.M on, and learn the spawns. Learn how to manipulate the spawns and control them. And a little tip is, when you're playing, most of the time when you push the map at the beginning and your team like if you're the ones pushing the map and you're taking that side of the map, they're going to spawn on your spawn point. So you're really going to want to remember that. And a good way to do this is they are either going to spawn behind you or away from the enemy team, away from your team, and you really need to remember that. But that's about all I have for this video. If you enjoyed the video, let me leave some comments in the comment section below if this helped you. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. This is Jakob, and I'll see you in the next one.